Hi friends. So I'm coming to you tonight a little later than I normally would. I already went ahead and took my bath, so I'm kind of ready for bed. And we had that retreat today, and I'm just not going to be able to sleep until I get some things done. What are those things? So after a retreat or you presented something, you really want to go over a few things. So I've written notes in my planner, of course, right, at a blank sheet, and I wrote down what I like to do. And I'm going to make this into a template because I found myself doing this time and time again. So what worked, what didn't work, what I would do differently, what I wish would be different. Like maybe I wish the location or the time or the budget, I don't know. I wish something was different. Maybe I wanted to have a screen projector. Maybe I wanted to have a different handout. So just what I wish could be different. That's a little bit out of my hands. It's like up to the next level of decision makers. So I would totally put that in my list. Number 5, I would have some awesome ideas. Like what would be my dream experience for this particular event. Right? And then any encouraging notes, anything that happened that really inspired me or I felt blessed by or I saw happening in the lives of those people I'm presenting to. And that's just great to have down. And then 7, any opportunities for follow-up. So ways to get that feedback. Or 1, you could have somebody video or record you. I've been to retreats where they do a video recording that's not for the participants. Nobody's going to see that but them to improve their own speaking, right? So like when I watch these videos, because I'm totally doing them off the cuff, I notice things. I notice I say the word right a lot. When I would podcast, so just the audio presentation, the word so was my enemy. So I'm trying so hard not to say so. I'm saying both so and right all the time, apparently. And the only reason I find that out is because I am recording myself and I will go back and watch it at least once on Facebook. So you can have somebody video or maybe do an audio recording if you're worried about child protection safety laws. One way to do it is you can film everybody from the back, so you only have the backs of everybody's heads, and you're seeing yourself, but only the backs of the audience. Now, if you're worried that they are going to turn around or something, then just have somebody record the audio, and you'll at least have that information. If you're working with adults, it's a totally different story. You can just have them sign a disclaimer on the spot and let them know, and it'll be on the beginning of the recording. This is never going to be shown anywhere. It is just for your own betterment. 2, you could have surveys. You can always have surveys. Surveys are trickier to write than people realize. They think, oh, I've taken a survey before, I can write one. There actually is an art and a science to survey writing. So if you don't have that experience, you might want to take a quick class, read a book on it, that sort of thing, or ask somebody who's been trained in that to do that for you. I have been trained in that. I've done it both at the bachelor's and master's level. I won't say I'm an expert, but there is an art to it. And I actually enjoy doing it, so I like doing that for people. You can also ask if there was a small group. So today we had small group rotations, and that's what I was working at. Or sometimes you break into small groups for discussion after a talk. So you could ask those small group leaders for any feedback that they got that maybe people weren't willing to say to your face, but they might have said to their small group leader. Last, another way to get feedback as well as follow up in case people wanted more information or wanted something more in depth is that you can connect with people on social media. Now that's a little more tricky with teens. So the way people normally do that is you make people aware of what your social media accounts are. And if the kid requests to friend you, then you can. Check with your local policies on that. And adults, I think you can connect with them. I think that's totally okay, but you would check who's ever in charge of the event to be sure that any of that is okay. Let's see. And redo. So no more than 2 weeks after an event or I talk somewhere, I like to go back and redo the presentation because often you're asked to do it a second time. So even my little presentations for Vacation Bible Camp, I'll go back and redo them. I don't have a problem doing that. The last time I gave a decently long talk, I don't know, it was 20 minutes to a half an hour. I was speaking at my fraternity meeting about contemplating Jesus through art. I also do artwork, and I've done papers on art, and it was part of that process of how I started doing my contemplative art. Was I had done a paper on it. Done a paper on, we studied postmodernism, postmodern man, how he likes truth, beauty, community, and mystery. And so how that can come through with art. And so I looked at different movements in art, different schools of art through time, even the development of some artists. So how I started out doing this, the presentation originally, the slides just had a big picture. It had the piece of art, and I knew my material pretty well, but I also had my paper there with me. And what happened was the first person who made a funny face at me, and they might have just been thinking hard, or maybe they were hard of hearing and couldn't really hear me. But that first scowly face, right? I retreated into my paper because I had that crutch in my hand and I could. I knew my material. I didn't have to do that, but because I didn't have any words on the screen to fall back on to catch myself, right? I went back to that paper. And it's kind of funny because that's kind of what I was trying to say to the kids today at the retreat. Learn how to say the rosary. Just learn the rote prayer part. As you go deeper, right, you're going to go deeper into the mysteries, and you're going to have meditations, and you're going to learn about the fruits of the Spirit that come with each of the meditations. And that's all well and good. But when you're really in a moment of distress, you're going to fall back probably to that rote prayer where you are just heartfelt, Hail Mary, full of grace. Like, hear me. I need you. Oh my Jesus, forgive us our sins, right? You're just going to go deeper into the individual basic prayer level. And so that's why you need to have my presentation. I needed to go back to that base level and see what needed to be tweaked to that base level to make that base level more fundamental so that it had a stronger foundation so that whenever I did the talk, right, the foundation was strong and I can do my little ad-libby dancing around thing as much as I needed to, but I had that strong foundation to build off. And that's what I was trying to tell the kids today. I don't know if that came across at all, that you have that strong foundation. And when you have trouble with rules or whatever, but you can fall back on them. If you have difficulty with rules, you go to your mother and you ask her for help, right? Whenever you're like, Dad's so stern today. And you also need to then go back to the Bible, and not just the mysteries, but go back to the Bible. And when you feel like God's being stern and he's really holding you some impossible rules, go back and read the prodigal son again. Read it from the angle of the father. Think about from the aspect of the view, of the prodigal son, and think of it of the viewpoint of the older brother. And do that for different Bible stories. Go back and look at it from the different pieces and what was going on in people's lives. And it may open up some situations to you, give you some new views on those that you've never had before. But you can only do that if you have a strong foundation, right, friends? So I guess I keep coming back to that. Build that strong foundation. And that's what I didn't get to tell the kids today. I thought I could ask them, who prays the rosary? Who knows a lot about Mary? Like, raise your hand. And I was going to build off the kids' experiences. Well, either they didn't have a lot of experience or they weren't willing to talk about it in front of their friends and classmates. And so that kind of fell through. And as a surprise to me, there were these awesome handouts in the bin that had the rosaries to hand out to kids. So I wasn't expecting that at all. So I tried to incorporate those flyers into it. And in the process, I lost that personal connection. And that's what I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here kind of in the dark. Actually, my nightgown on, I threw on a sweatshirt quick because I just really wanted to share that with you. Be a little bit vulnerable and share that, hey, I did goof up today. I didn't show the kids my vulnerability, so I'm not 100% sure that they heard me. I was really just trying to tell them tough things are going to happen in your life. But if you take this opportunity now to build a strong foundation while you're young, you're going to have that to rely on. And if you have difficulties, it's okay. Here's your mom. You can go to her for anything, anytime, and she'll be there for you. She'll intercede for you, whatever you need. And you just need to trust her, like St. Bernadette did, right? St. Bernadette, oh my goodness, right? She had a poor education. She was poor. She had a poor education. Her teachers didn't even think that she was that bright, so we don't know. And then Mary talked to her. Nobody else could hear Mary. Nobody else could see Mary. Mary had her do these weird gestures and things, right? So then people were like, oh no, she's really weird. She's weird and she's crazy and she's not that bright and she's poor. We don't know what's going on with her, right? And then all that's going on, and poor Bernadette is so in love with Mary, she just trusts her completely. And Mary says, go over there, go to that pig wallow and scratch it with your hands and wash yourself in it and drink it. And Bernadette did it. And look what that faith did for us. How many people have been healed in the waters of Lourdes, right? How many? It's amazing. And it's like the woman with the hemorrhage in the Bible, right? Jesus like turned around, he's like, who did that? Who touched me? And there's this woman just touching the hem of this woman that nobody would talk to, right? She's been bleeding for years. People were like, you're disgusting. And nobody would talk to her. She just reached out and touched the hem of him. And because of her strong faith, she was healed. Friends, that's what we're saying you need. Have that strong faith. So have that strong faith, that strong foundation, and beautiful things will happen. So after a retreat, even if whether you're throwing the retreat or you're just a speaker or you've given a talk somewhere, go back. It is worth it to go back and kind of look at it. Even if you're not the one organizing the retreat, go back and look at it. See what you can do to improve it in case you get the opportunity again. And try and make that opportunity. If you can connect with people on social media, if you miss something, maybe they're going to get that from you on another day. That was my thought. Or maybe they'll invite you back to speak again where you can go more in depth. If you show that willingness, right? Say, oh, guys, I didn't get to say everything I wanted to say. I hope I get the chance to say it to you again, or I hope someone else tells you how much you are loved and how much Mary is just praying for you every day. Every day, we're all praying for you, and we really hope that you will build this strong foundation and that you're going to get to heaven one day and get to be with God and live in like splendor and glory with him forever. So my friends, that's what I have for you. It's worth the effort. Take the time after a retreat or speaking. Sometimes it's just a conversation you might need to look back on. And think about it that night. Jot down some notes and revisit it. Don't wait more than 2 weeks, but go back and revisit it and think, how would I do that differently if I got another chance? And sketch it out. And if you were giving a retreat and it's a yearly retreat and you gave a talk at it, go say, this is my big ask. This is what I really want to do for these kids. Like next year, I'd love to have more time to talk to these kids. Just a little bit more time at that station, right? To get that in, get that personal connection in. So do the big ask. Go ahead. It doesn't hurt anything to do it. And if you don't get the big ask, it's okay. Because you know who you can go to? Yeah, that's right. Go to your mother. Go pray to your mother and see if she can accomplish it in another way if she can't accomplish it through you. So friends, pray for all those kids out there starting their confirmation lessons right now. And I'm praying for you. I hope you're praying for me. Don't forget to pray for those kids. Pray for their leaders. Pray for their retreat leaders. God bless you all, friends. Good night.